Good morning. Welcome back to a happy Monday. Rag Chew here at the BX Radio Shop. See who all wants to check in today. See who all is around. Well, since yesterday, or late last night rather, we have an update on the subscriptions, and it looks like we have a total of 14 new subscribers since late last night till early this morning. Wow. See, we'll check on the numbers. Hold on, I just gotta check a couple things here on the computer. Get to my emails. Looking good. All right, there we go. Start reading some of my emails, I guess, here. Good morning, Marty. How are you? Well, here's an interesting question off the get-go. Stu, you mentioned about an AGC circuit with a dual-op amplifier. What does that actually do inside of a radio when you're talking about the Cherokee radios and the AGC where they were shorting out? What does an AGC mean, and what does it actually do in a radio? Okay. Well, so an AGC is your automatic gain control. It's an op amplifier circuit, and what it does, there's an audio output on those. So they have what they call a feedback loop, and it measures the gain. It's like a self-automatic adjusting amplifier gain built inside that chip. So that's why they call it an op amplifier. So it amplifies a signal coming in. It acts like a feedback loop, and what it does is it's automatically going to adjust the signal coming in for the receive and compensating for any change. So that way, when you have, let's see here, if you have too much output and it can't keep up, or it can't change, or not enough output, so this is going to vary that. The whole idea behind the AGC is to prevent the output from becoming too weak. Is what's happening. You don't want it to not work and have it where it's an open circuit, because they'll take out the front end. And if you don't have enough signal coming in, then the op amplifier might have a problem because it's too weak. It's shorting internally. So, but that is a automatic gain control, and the purpose of having this is because it is going to adapt and adjust and amplify to the output levels to make sure your receiver circuit is working good. So that's what it does. What do we got for another email here? We got lots of emails today. Wow. I think that's all he had on this one. Let's see what the other one says. Well, alright, here's one that says, Stu, don't feel bad. We all know that the idiot in New Hampshire we all hear about, him and his friend and that fake email. We already know about this. We've seen the post. You can see right through it. And the comment he made pretty much verified all of that. Well, thank you. I'm glad you noticed that. Everybody seems to notice it. The only one who doesn't notice it is the one who did the email because he still lost it in his head for making a fake email about the whole Yeezu thing. So, but we don't care. I'm not going to discuss any of that because, excuse me, he just wants his fame. We're not going to give it. So, oh, another email here from the same guy again. What do you forget now? Oh, okay. Must be he didn't think the first email was true. The second one, okay. All right. So what is the next one we've got here? We have one from, okay, Eric Carter. Who is that? Why does that name sound familiar? Huh. Hello, John. Hello, William. Good morning to you guys. How are you? Yeah, we're just kind of answering emails, doing a morning ride show for a Monday. It's going to be a beautiful day today. So how's everybody's commute to work today? Anything good? Exciting out there today? Hopefully some sunshine. Alright, put down his response here. Okay. Oh, let's see what we got for the next one. Love your bike, love your GoPro video, keep up the good ride, and love your radio work, keep that up too. Don't let the trolls get to you because you are an amazing technician. You're the only one who actually shows your stuff. Haters are haters, but the real techs always survive. Well, thank you, appreciate that. So we have for another email here, what we got? What's this one? Working on a 142 Cobra, another shop screwed up. I'm going to try it myself, as I've taken electronics years ago, just haven't done it forever. So I sent it to a shop only to find out it came back and it's messed up. I'm losing out from 28 to 40. The rest of the channels work. What's causing this? Okay, that's a very good question. Excellent question, in fact. Thank you, William. I appreciate that. APK, good morning. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Mike. How are you? Got super hot there? Yeah. It's going to be 80 something here today, that's for sure. I'm going to sneak out for just a very short ride this morning. And before it gets hot. And then I'll be stuck at the bench the rest of the day. So it'll be a very busy week. Got a lot of people showing up. A lot of radios to get done. But the short ride I'm going to take is only about 6 or 7 miles, just enough to go to the bank east of here and get right back. So it ain't going to be much of a ride today, but that's okay. Get it when I can. Okay, so the reason why you're not getting your channels locked in is not because of your PLL, it's because of the VCO. Hello, Ace. Good morning. So that's what your problem is your VCO. Your VCO is a voltage controlled oscillator, and what that does is it locks in a voltage set you can adjust per specifications, and it's going to lock you in place for all the 40 channels to work. Now, if you were to modify the PLL, then you would adjust it again, and the voltage would change and vary, so you can lock in the rest of the frequencies, so you get your 120 channels. $104 yesterday for index. Wow. Huh. So the VCO, let's talk about that for a moment. We'll bring back your younger years when you were taking electronics. What is a VCO? Let's start with that. And a lot of this I should probably be doing on members only, but I'm going to just discuss this anyways to help people, because you know there's certain things I'll put out here for people to learn, even though the hacks will claim it anyways. So a VCO is a voltage controlled oscillator, as we know, right? What does it do? Well, that's going to change and control a signal, a frequency passing through. And that's controlled by a voltage. And so when you have a VCO, there's a voltage setting for a minimum and a maximum. And that will determine whether or not you're going to get your phase lock loop, both the transmit and the receive, to lock in place. That's what a VCO does. So it's going to change. It's a frequency changed base voltage is what it is. So when you apply the voltage to the input, you're going to get a signal reading at the output, and you can take and adjust that voltage to lock in whatever the expansion of the VCO will allow you to do. So let's say, for example, I've seen some radios where, all right, let's say like on this 142, for example, he's working on it. So, well, I've seen it where some people would modify those, and they typically stop at 28.045, 035. But I've seen some that couldn't even do that, and I've seen some that might go a little bit more. I've seen some that would cut off at 90 or 95 or 98 and not get the last few channels. And that's because of the VCO. Now, if you can't get the voltage to apply, you can also put a different type of VCO in there. You can make one and get that variation to go just a little bit more. And by doing so, now you can lock in the rest of the frequencies. So the VCO has to have a span of a voltage to control in order to get your frequencies to lock in place. So that's all it's used for, is to have a signal going in. The output frequency of the VCO for tuning purposes is going to be based on what you put in for the applied voltage in the beginning. That's what changes. So back to your question. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I'm eating a donut too. My breakfast. Back to your question. Why are you losing just the upper channels? Go through the alignment procedure. In your VCO, you'll see it's not going to be set right. And I do believe, let's see here. Well, let me get the book, because you know how trolls are. God forbid you say one word and they're focused on it for the rest of their life, you know. So I want to say 1.125. Some of them are a little bit off. Alright, yeah, so the 142, you're going to set that one at 5 volts on channel 40. So you're going to go to where test point 9 is. If you got the book there for procedure, it's going to be L13 and you adjust it for 5 volts. And that would lock you in place on your 40 channels. If it don't, then you got a bad VCO. I think it's a 148 that does it differently. Let me check. I think that's the 1.25 or 3 volts or something. I forget now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. On the Cobra 148 would be 3.2 volts on 40 and 2.2 on one. Some radios are 1.25, but you're looking for 5 volts on yours. That's what you're looking for. 5 volt supply of voltage on channel 40. Excuse me. And that should lock it in place. If it does not, and you're still missing some or gaining a little or nothing's changed at all, then change out your VCO. Your VCO is no good. It doesn't have enough capacitance to change the voltage to allow you that span to put the radio back in perspective. Good question, though. Very good question. Let's see what this next email is here. Wow. So here's an interesting one. Morning, Brian. How are you? Here's an interesting email. You're gonna like this one, Brian. I think everyone's gonna like this one. So whoever it is apparently watching. This one just came in. Actually, this email here. Why are your videos long? Why do you bother to write you in the morning when you guys really don't write you about nothing interesting? Why do you waste people's time having long videos of radios that you could probably fix in 10 minutes and get to the point? Just show them what you did and move on. Wow. And then there's another sentence there of some very unlikely choice words we won't repeat. Well, here's a question, and apparently you just sent that in because you're watching my ride show this morning. Here's not a question, but I mean, well, it's a question too, I suppose, for you, but here's my question to you. Why are you watching my channel? You got options, you got choices, move on. Here's my answer to you. What does it matter? If I do a short video, you're not going to learn. So you must be one of these hack guys that just wants the answer and then tell everybody else you figured it out and fixed it. So go find yourself another channel to play with. That's kind of a long and short of the answer. How's that? Because I'm not gonna take and create toxic on my damn channel for you guys. So no, you can take and go somewhere else. We're not gonna sit here and have you guys harass my channel. Sorry. You don't like what I do. You have choices. There's a reason why you're on my channel. If you don't like certain things or anything at all, then go join the Hack Shop channel. There's plenty of them. That's funny. I do like the fact, though, it says when you can probably get it done in 10, 15 minutes. I do like that. I am damn good, but, you know, it is what it is. You gotta troubleshoot things, you gotta test things, you gotta look at things, you gotta verify things. You know, nothing's gonna always be a very short time of just a few moments. And here it is, fix it, now move on, let's see another video. Wow. You're just looking for the end result answer, you're not looking for anything else. So I suppose I could do a video for you like that if you want them. What I'll do is I'll say, here's a before video, no transmit output, we'll say for example. Okay, here's the end video, fix the problem, now it's working. How's that? You still won't get your answer, because I ain't going to tell you. That's too funny. That is funny. Oh my God. I would expect that out of New Hampshire all day long. That's funny. Yeah, I know. There's so much you gotta remove on different things or troubleshoot. Well, yeah, whatever. You know. All right, here's another email. This one kind of goes into this other email. Now this one here, I know who sent this one. He's actually a good friend of mine, and he that is so funny. So, oh boy. So, Kenny is on here right now. So join the chat, Kenny. Hello, Corey. How are you? And so if Kenny wants to jump in the chat, go ahead. He says, excuse me. Love your videos, Stu. Don't care what people say. Keep doing what you gotta do. Doing a great job. Watch you all the time. Enjoying your rag chew. Are you sure my video's not too long? Now, for that reason, I should make my videos a lot longer. I should go back to making 4 or 5 hour long videos and just drag it out. That's what I should do. I should make a video of an easy radio, search one problem, take a 10-minute break, come back, answer a few phone calls, go back to it, play solitaire on the computer for a minute, go back to it. Maybe I'll just call up Corey and rag chew with him on the phone for a minute, and then I'll go back to the radio. You know, maybe I'll have an easy job where it's just a matter of maybe a bad mic wiring that only takes about 2 minutes to fix, but I'll turn it into a 4-hour process. How's that? Maybe I'll do a video on mic wiring. Look up color codes. Well, you gotta focus on the red one. What's the red one? I don't know. Let me look it up. Let me Google it. Take some time. I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'll make that a full day video. Well, if you ask stupid questions, you get stupid prizes. How's that? That is hilarious. There you go. Ace says do a 4-hour light bulb video. Yeah. I'm game for that, sure. I should do a 1-hour video how to take screws out of a cover. Do another 1-hour video how to remove the cover after the screws have been taken out. Do another 1-hour video looking for a light bulb, and then do another hour video unsoldering the 2 leads. We'll make that guy very happy. Maybe he'll pop his name up there so I can either ban him or maybe he'll be smart enough to just leave my damn channel. You know, out of almost 4,000 subscribers, guys, and I thank you guys very much for all your support. I really do. So thank you so much for the subscribers, viewers, people who really engage and make comments ask questions. I really do appreciate that because this is what makes the channel grow. This is what brings people the attraction to the channel because of the education and the knowledge and all the factual information you get on different things. So um, there's never a dull moment here, but never do we ever post or say things that are not true. Anything that we say here is always going to be factual and verified. And my trolls can focus on that all day long and say, yep, he says this, and guess what? Here's what I found. And they don't care what they do. You know, it doesn't matter what they do because I know what I've got. I know where I stand. I know who I do things for. And I got all my stuff verified. And I'm still, you know, waiting. Not that I really care, but I'm still waiting for someone to make a stupid comment about, we can't verify your certificates. Yes, you can. The companies are still open. Every one of those companies are still open. The school's still open. Everything's still open. So, yes, you can. And just for a heads up for my wonderful trolls out there who are going to be digging in deep, which they should be spending more time learning how to work on radios, taking advice instead of creating trouble and drama that they aren't going to win, only embarrass themselves. But it's a good entertainment show to watch. That's what they want to do to try and gain subs and reviews. I guess that's what it is. And if that's the way you got to go, the welfare stretch road, then it is what it is. If you want to take and fool around with your faith, then go for it. I suppose pretty stupid, but whatever. I mean, I've already took a step further. Didn't have to, but I did, and I called every one of them up. I said, "Hey, how you guys doing? This is so and so, you know," and a couple new people who were there didn't know who I was, but they knew who I was as far as when they got a hold of the we call it teacher in the school and the higher up staff who still works at the school. Some have retired, some have not, some have got new faces. But all they gotta do is look me up in the system, and as soon as the lady did that, she goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, it says right here, blah 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 blah. Yep, that's all. Just want to make sure you guys are all, you know, having fun, and how are things going? Haven't been up there in so long." And you used to try to drop in a couple times a year and go visit people, but I don't have time anymore. Half-hour drive up the road, and I never go up that way much. So I stop in all the time and just say hi to people. Say, "Hey, how you guys doing? You know, had a good time way back and when I graduated there from that class and got my degree, whatever else." So it's all verifiable. Everything I have is verifiable. I'm not going to post something if it wasn't verifiable. That makes me look stupid. So, but you know, these guys are going to dig into it and whatever. So that's cool. Okay, got another email here. This is very interesting. Can you explain how you use your scope to check for a bad final? Well, we just did that many times actually recently. So yeah, the easy way to do that. Well, you guys got some really good, nice questions. I like these emails. So that shows engagement too. It really does. So if you guys aren't already subscribers, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, thumbs up, and click on the join for special and exclusive videos of repairs, etc. And we will be doing gold patches and awards, and you get gift prizes. We'll be doing that as well for members only. So if you guys want to check it out, join. $9 a month, less than 30 cents a day. Cheap. Make that move, hit the join button. Anyway, so back to your question. Okay, so when you use an oscilloscope, you can use analog or digital, doesn't really matter. What you're looking for is an amplification change. You're looking for a gain. So what that means, and again, I should be doing this for private videos only, members only, because I've said this before many times. I guess it doesn't really matter, because if you're a real technician, you'll figure out what I'm saying. If you're not a technician, I'm going to try to school you on this. However, you will see the difference of people who are really trying, and I respect that, versus the ones who just try to claim the fame and they don't have a clue, and you can see right through the BS. Anyways, you can use either digital or analog scope. Now, what that means is you can use the analog scope and set your volts per division and your time domain to set up to read your signal. And what you're looking for is on the input side of a driver or a final, you're looking for a signal, and that signal is going to read XYZ, for example, right? So when you go to the output to see if you have any amplification, change, or gain, it should be at least 2/3, if not double, the input. So it should show something. So let's say, for example, you've got your scope set at 2 division on the input. Well, theoretically, you should be roughly about 4 division on the output, thereabouts. Okay. If you do, then it's working. Something else is not functioning if you're not getting the power to pass through to the antenna jack. So now, if you have it at the final, then it's between the final and the antenna jack is a problem. It could be a bad coil tuning. It could be maybe a cap. Let's say, for example, you have it. Let's say your driver's good, but you're not getting the gain at the final. Then your final would be an issue. Or maybe it's not getting a bias voltage to set the final into mode. Now, when you go to a digital scope has a button, a nice feature says auto. So what you do, you get your probe, get it all set, put it on the input lead of, let's say, like the driver, for example, hit auto, and then you go into, again, adjust your volts per division, get it all set. And what you're looking for is always try to set it around like a 2 division. That means you got one block above and one block below your center line. Those are called divisions. So you want to be able to have at least a 2 division to start. Now, when you go to check the out, hold that down. Key up your radio, put your probe to the input of your driver, and hit auto. Don't take the probe off and don't unkey the microphone. Just leave it right there until the auto shows on your digital display of the scope a signal. When you get that signal set, then you can unkey the microphone. Now what you're looking to do is adjust it to where you get a good clean signal on the scope. So now that you've already got it locked in by auto, now what you could do is go to your output, key it, don't hit the auto again, just key it. If you see an amplification at that point, then you know, whether it be big, it might be so much as covers the whole screen, it doesn't matter. As long as you got a lot of gain, a lot of amplification, and it shows that, it's good. So if it does not, and it's right around the same as the input, or just a little bit maybe above the input, then there's something wrong. It's not getting enough gain to amplify it down the path. Same thing applies to the final. So any transistor you're looking for to find out if it has a gain, doesn't always have to be a driver to final. Any transistor you're looking for that has a gain to pass through, whether it's amplifying your receive signal, your output signal for RF, it doesn't matter. If the gain is not present and you're not seeing it, well, then you have a problem in that circuit. And I got to find out what's causing the problem, whether it be a cap, a leaky diode, coil, it could be a coil, could be a component of, whether it be a chip or semiconductor, whatever's in the circuit. So when you're talking about how to check a final, you can do 3 things. 1, check it on an analog scope. Well, you can do four things really. Check it on an analog scope, a digital scope, or a RF power level meter. One of those 3 choices would work. Or you unsolder the leads, get a transistor tester, and just test the component. And it will tell you if it's unknown, faulty, shorted, open, whatever the case it be is. Now, yesterday, we did a video on a Realistic TRC 492. Great radio, by the way. Really nice classic radio. And what we did, when we opened the cover, we heard something rattling. So that's kind of a dead giveaway. It's like, okay, well, what the heck was this? And it fell on the bench. It says, uh-oh, that's like half of a transistor shell. What's going on with this? And sure enough, it was the driver. So the driver was no good. And by seeing what it did, didn't really matter to me anyways, because everyone saw what it did. It blew right in half. It just sat right there. So, but I was going to check it anyways to see if we had any amplification, if it wasn't even shorted out. So, but the final was okay. It was just the driver that had failed. That was the weakest link out of the 2 components. Now, some people might say, Um, might say, well, how come the final didn't go? If it's like an SWR, let's say it's SWR related, which I believe it is. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I feel it's part of it, but I also feel it's because somebody got inside there and played around with the tuning. So I think it came down to a couple different things, really. But if it was more related to an SWR issue, not so much a tuning, which I think this leans more towards the tuning aspect of things, really. I mean, SWR may have had a factor into it, but I think it's more of the tuning is where I'm gathering that, because the way they had this all set up, you're not giving the gain, you're not. It's changing, it's stressing it because the coils are out of whack. So if it were just SWR related only and not a tuning problem, then the final would have shorted first because the driver shorted and not the final. And we found out that the tuning aspect of things was a problem. Then that tells me it's because the way it was tuned, it was out of balance. Therefore, the transistor was stressed, and for those reasons, it failed because it wasn't tuned correctly in the circuit. So something was backfeeding there with the tuning, and that's what caused the driver to fail in this particular case, which is very odd because usually when a transistor fails is because it's under so much stress it can't give it just it can't take, I mean, and anymore, so it shuts down. That's it, it's done. And like, again, that could be related to an SWR. If, let's say, the final went and the driver, okay, well, you definitely got something stupid going on, high SWR. It took out both. Generally it will only take out the final. It doesn't really go any further because when it shuts the final down, it kind of protects the driver because the driver can't do nothing past that point because there's nothing to amplify. You know, the driver goes to the final stage. After the final stage, if the final is shorted, they can't go nowhere. So it's not going to feed back further because the damage is already done. So think of it like this. You got I don't know, let's say, all right, how about this? We got a 4 foot piece of 2x4, right? And we find out that 6 inches in the middle of it cracked and it's separated. Okay, well, if that's the case, well, then you can't do nothing more prior to where the break is because there's nothing else to do. So, in other words, if you already have something disrupted in circuit, it's pretty much disconnected at this point because it's shorted out. It can't do nothing else. It's already burned out. So because it's already burned out, the functions and features of that component, it can't allow anything prior to go past it or have it function and amplify and go further down the line. So it's kind of like a big hole right there. So when you have a shorted final, it can't feed back anymore because the damage is already done. It's got nothing else to short out. It's already been completed. So in this case, though, with the driver, that was due to the tuning. Somebody had tuned this thing so far out of balance, all the stress went onto the driver. It wasn't actually able to amplify a good, clean signal to the final. So all the pressure, improper tuning, went right to the driver, thus giving you a bad driver to the point where it just said, hey, I can't do no more, and it ended up separating in 2 pieces. So that was the reason for the realistic base as to what happened with that. But again, you can use a scope, digital, analog, or a RF level power meter. You can use any one of those 3 to do so, and definitely check to see amplification. It's really easy to do. We've done many videos on that. We've showed a lot of it in detail, so a lot of that's now sent over to members only. But because a lot of these guys are trying to really hard to copycat everything and critique things as if they know what they're really doing. When you guys hear people do all that and all these comments and responses you get from all these other people that think that they are a big dog and doing everybody a favor, and just listen to how they talk, okay? Just listen to how they talk, regardless what they show and what they want to claim. And I like how these guys, they point out just a certain thing only, and that's where the focus is, like the bird meter. I had one guy say, he put a comment out, and he says, Let's all take our radios, the DX Radio Shop, the one that doesn't know how to use a bird meter. A bird meter is simple, guys. You have an input, you have an output. Can you reverse them? Yes, you can. Why would you reverse them? If you reverse them, now your slug has to work the opposite direction. Well, if you're going to work in the opposite direction, that's not the proper way to set up a bird meter, no. So when you get people that are so uneducated and so focused on making a statement like that, it's only an embarrassment and only to show you the lowest IQ that they really do have, and they're probably all high school dropouts. And they probably didn't even go for GED, probably couldn't even make it for that. And there's no disrespect to the people who do have a problem. This is not toward you. This is directed towards the people who are just plain stupid to focus on a comment and such a thing as to, he can't use a bird meter. Yeah, I can use my bird meter. And we read it from left to right. So the arrow of the slug goes to the right for forward. If you reverse the arrow to the left, it shows reflected. Read the book. They show you how to put it in line. Pretty self-explanatory. They even got nice little art pictures inside a little manual for people who can't read. So long as you can see and you see the pictures, it's really easy to do. If you want to switch your input and your output on a bird meter, hey, knock yourselves out. Just remember, now you got to read that in reverse. So you might as well take your oscilloscope and turn that upside down. Take your service monitor, turn it upside down. Take your power supply, turn it all upside down. Because if you're going to start reading everything in reverse, hell, you might as well just start flipping all your equipment upside down, because that's what you're doing. You're switching your input and your output on a damn bird meter. For what reason is ridiculously stupid. Because you want to read it upside down in reverse. So when you see comments like that in posts, it's just the lack of education from the people who don't have a damn clue. So those are the ones don't even respond and make comments on your post, guys, if you see them, especially on Facebook. Facebook is a cesspool for a social media frenzy of Jerry Springer, geriatric, grown adults wearing diapers. That's it. I don't even get on my Facebook. I get on long enough for maybe hit a like for a family member, or if I see a new cousin that might pop up from a different side of our family, down south or whatever. We see a new one pops up every so often as they get older and they get a Facebook page. Okay, cool. We stay in touch with friends and family. I get customers that'll contact me through there, and I always tell them, hey, here's my phone number. I don't deal with Facebook, but you can call me. Or here's my email. That's about the extent of it. Otherwise, I don't get on my damn Facebook. I could care less. Because to me, it's a social media cesspool of just arrogant, stupid, uneducated people. It really is. You get a lot of good people on there, but you get like 90% of the people on Facebook are just so damn stupid. The stuff that they do. Oh my goodness gracious. In fact, one, I remember seeing this a couple years ago. I remember seeing this every day. She did the same damn thing. She'd wake up. Well, got my cup of coffee. On my way to the gym. Then to the grocery store. Blah, 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 blah. And this went on for several months. Well, somebody saw an opportunity. That's what we call an opportunist. And when she went out and did her same routine, she came home. Guess what she found? Her house was broken into. Her place got robbed. You're putting all your personal information out on the damn web. Pretty stupid. And then she wondered why people did this. She says, I shouldn't have to worry about my house. Who cares if I want to put my schedule out here? It's like, wow. Just like a funeral, guys. When people see the obituary and they see all this, that, and the other, the highest crime rate for theft is during those time frames. Sadly, but true. You know? So that's what we call an opportunist. And when you start seeing all these people post different things on here, especially these lefties, oh my God, they're screaming and hooting and hollering and, oh my God, look at what the president's doing. I don't know. So, holy jeez. You need a job. That's what you need. You need a job. You got too much time in your hands if you're worried about political stuff. I don't let political stuff get into my life. There's no way. No communism allowed on my property. Not in my life. Wherever I go, I do what the hell I want to do. As long as it's legal, I do what the hell I want to do. Nobody tells me what to do. Unless your mom, dad, or God, sorry, not in the list. Move on. So, yeah. So that's why I don't get on Facebook. I used to see a lot of that stuff. I don't even mess with it. My God. When there's this guy named Francis Harvey. he we had to kick him out of here because he became just. There's a lot of other issues we found out, and then we found out that he was. After a while, we found out. After we kicked him out, it was like a month later. We found out he was also, which we were not aware of, and that really pissed me off. Thank God he was never left alone, nobody, because it turned out to be that he was a registered offender. It's like, oh, you little bastard. That pissed me off. Had I known this when he was here, oh my God. He'd have had a flagpole sticking out his backside. Put you like that. So, but it would have been known. But yeah, he used to, he still does. He's one of the biggest drama queens around. He'd get on Facebook and just go through everything and screenshot everything. And then he'd message me and, look at what I found, look at what I found, look at what I found. Oh my God, you got to get a job. So he's another one, high school dropout. His biggest excuse is, nobody wants to hire me. I'm too stupid. I'm too old. Well, you got that right. So, well, that's okay though, because he's no longer. We dropped his bottom there last year, so he's no longer allowed around here. And don't like liars, don't like thieves, and especially if you're registered. Oh my God, stay the hell away from me, because there's only one place for you guys. That's for damn sure. And it ain't here. So, oh well. Jim, good morning. How are you? Good to see you on. And we got James. How are you? Good to see you on. Facebook is just a joke. Can you imagine how many people would actually cry? It's not so much the ones who want to keep in touch with families and whatever. It was designed for that, right? It was nice. Then it just became a big welfare social network now. Real social media is radio airwaves, guys. That's what it is. Because, I mean, you're still going to get some people that are idiots, but real social media is when you actually see the people in real life, or you get on a radio waves and have a good time. This whole, non-stop computer, Facebook, goodness gracious. You guys remember when we had AOL chat way back in the day? AOL chat? Oh my goodness gracious. I bet you all the newer generations, what they call them, the Gen X, they probably don't even have, or no, the Gen Z, I'm sorry, the Gen Z they call them, is what my kids say, for the newer generation. A lot of those guys have no idea what the hell MySpace was, or AOL, or... I was talking to somebody recently, and I said, well, let me ask you this. You're pretty good with computers, right? Yeah, okay. Well, how old are you? About 38. Going on 38, he says, okay. Do you remember, probably not, but said, do you remember what DOS was? And I started laughing, thinking, yeah, boy, this is funny. And he says, no, but his friend, who was 35 years old, says, oh, I remember that. And my jaw dropped. I was like, are you serious? Yeah, I remember that. I said, how do you remember that? I says, do you dabble in it? He says, oh, no. I've done a lot of computer research and whatnot. I just kind of caught up on different things, and I was always fascinated how computers got started and this, that, and the other before it became Windows. I said, okay, so you kind of self-educated. He said, yeah, awesome, that's pretty cool. He said, yeah, I went to school and everything else and learned a lot more. And no, he said, I know all about DOS and 3.0 and 3.1, 3.11, 3.111. Then we got up to the first Windows and this, that, and the other. And he goes, oh, yeah, and Y2K and all that stuff. I says, wow, pretty impressive. I said, well, here's one for you. If you know all of this, let's really test your knowledge. He says, okay, what's that? I says, you ever hear of Ubuntu? He said, actually, yes, I have. I said, wow, that's pretty impressive. You really did your homework. I said, that's really impressive. Well, keep up the good work. His buddy's looking at us like, this ain't right. He says, this isn't right, man. I know part of what you guys are saying, but not all of what you're saying. But so that was really impressive. But a lot of these guys today have no clue. The new Gen Zs have no clue. They've never heard of DOS. They don't know what the hell it even means. They don't even know what RAM means at all. They have no idea. They just look at one thing. I got a device that tells me I can do whatever I want to do. I can talk to whoever I want to talk to, and life is good. Well, Take that away of the equation, and what do you got left? A person with a low IQ. Sad. Sad, sad. But very true. Because they rely on being fed the information in the palm of your hand. That's the problem, right? So that's what these hack shops do too. They rely on what information we're willing to give. They can claim it for the fame. So you take any one of these guys, you put them out there. Let's make it easy. One, well, I'll make it easier than that. Let's do, let's see here. We'll do a, oh man, that might be still too hard for a lot of people today. All right, we'll make it easy. Let's do a half a mile. I was gonna say a quarter mile, but let's give them a little bit of a challenge, right? A half of mile, okay? And we would have so many people as a parameter on the outskirts. Heavy wooded area that we all know where it's at, and we all know where these people are going to be. Let's put in a dozen or two people at a time, right? A half a mile. That's not a lot, guys. It really isn't a lot. But it's enough to scare the hell out of people today. A half a mile radius, heavy wooded area. We know where you're at. We know how to get you in, get you out. We're going to blindfold you, drop you off. You can't do anything. All you're going to have is, well, two options. We're going to give you a walkie-talkie in case you really need any kind of assistance. You get hurt. Can't leave you out there by yourself like that, especially if you're uneducated and not trained. But outside of a walkie-talkie, that's it. So now you got to rely on Mother Nature. How do you get out of a half a mile radius, heavy wooded area without any devices outside of a walkie-talkie for communication, unless you really are scared, you're lost, you got hurt, you fell down, whatever the case may be is, right? Snake bites you or something we didn't see in the woods, whatever the case may be is. So for emergency purposes, you know, you'd have to have at least some kind of communication, right? But as far as cell phones, GPSs, nothing. How do you get out? You'd be surprised how many people would fail because they rely on all what you see today, the social media. They'll get on top of the fronts. Hey, I'm over here. You know, this is where I'm at. Can you help me out? Tell me which way I can go. Blah, blah, blah. They have no idea. They wouldn't even know where to look for what side of the tree would have moss. That'd give you direction of north. They wouldn't even know how to look at the treetops. If you can see anything kind of swaying, what direction would give you an idea where the wind's coming from, what direction you want to go to. They wouldn't have any idea to put markings on a tree to identify different characters to say, hey, I came back past this way twice now. And that way you can at least know if you're walking in circles. You'd be surprised, right? So, oh my God, I tell you, I've always wanted to do that. Put somebody in an area and see what they can do without social media. And I've always wanted to take and set up an area where we can, like in an auditorium or wherever, a state fair or something, where everybody can watch and see with all these distractions all the way around you, and really put your ability to a test. Say, hey, here's a radio. Identify it, walk through the whole process of procedure, and fix it right now. And that's where you're going to start separating the high IQ from the low IQ, because you're going to see how many hack shops lined up. You know, it's kind of like the county fair we went to over the weekend. I came so, I mean, I tell you what, I came so close. Oh my God. I was actually proud of myself because I haven't lifted weights in forever. So I've lost a lot of muscle size. It used to be pretty decent size. I still have a lot of strength. But I've lost a lot of physical muscle size over the years because just not working out. And so, but I'm still strong as hell. And so I have developed many other ways to keep my strength and techniques through martial arts, opposed to the bodybuilding aspect, which I do miss the bodybuilding. A good friend of mine, he goes by Bone Picker. You guys seen him out here many times. He does not know what, how can I say this? He doesn't. In fact, he just made this comment not long ago. We were on a bike ride, and it's so very true. He does not. He said he does not know not how to bodybuild because it's all he does. It's not a hobby. It becomes a lifestyle, which is very true. So when he works out, he's been working out like 90% of his life, and he's a really big guy, man. You don't want to see this guy down the alleyway. He's got biceps. We always joke around when he pulls up here and whatever reason, and I'll say, hey, no little guns parked in the driveway. The big guns, gotta keep that for the big guns. He says, yeah. Well, you might want to get that big gun T-shirt come out because you got the wrong shirt on. So he's a big boy. So, but the point is, guys like him religiously and faithfully work out all the time because it's a lifestyle. It's not so much like, okay, well, whatever. I did it as a hobby. I did it as for many reasons, one of which was for lifestyle, but it just got to the point where when you have so many people you work out with, it's great, and then when they start disappearing, lose interest, move out of the area, get a distant job, working 60, 80 hours a week, you start losing motivation because it's fun to work out with people, not alone. So it got to the point where it's like, yeah, everyone's doing this, that, and the other, moving out like an hour away or out of state or whatever reason why they had to do that. It just got to the point where it's like, okay, I don't really care to do this much anymore. And I kind of let it go. And I regret it because I tell you what, man, if I had stuck with that still to today, I'd be half the size of Lou Ferrigno without the steroids. I never did any steroids. I refuse to do anything like that whatsoever. Now, Bone Picker, clean as a whistle, man. He's never done none of that garbage. It's all natural, 100% natural, and pure 100% bodybuilder. And so, but I've always wanted to challenge people on different things. So we went to the county fair, and they had this bar. It was a load-bearing bar. You got to hang on to it. You got to pick your feet up off the ground. You got to hang on to it. Well, they have it all set, which we all know. Your fairs and carnivals, they got them all rigged, right? They don't want to pay you money. And the guy says, 2 minutes. That's all you need. 2 minutes. If you can hang on to that bar with your feet off the ground and hold yourself up for 2 minutes, you get $100. You get a $10 shot, one try. If you pay $20, then you get your choice at the $100 bill or a brand new Nintendo Switch. I'm like, well, here's the $10. Oh, man, that's okay. We'll see what happens. As I'm not in the shape that I used to be 20 years ago. But it's okay, I'll give it a shot. So I held on to it, and I come very close, and he was so close. If you get too close to winning, they have a bearing. And what it does, he's got a remote to set the time. He's got a remote to start turning that bar. And so you got to hang on to the bar as much as you can for the full 2 minutes. And that's where they get you. So I had 20 seconds out of 2 minutes. I had 20 seconds left. And I went to adjust my grip. And when I tried to do that, I couldn't grab it again. It's like, oh shit. 20 seconds, like 18 seconds by the time I started adjusting my hand left. So that was a challenge. That was fun. But the guy says, you got the big guns, bring them over. I says, no, my big guns are retired. I don't have any more big guns. So, but it was fun though. I mean, it kind of brought back memories, but it was also goes back to survival skill and also goes back to mind over matter. And so I remember all the techniques I did, which is why I held on for so long. Because most of the people on average lasted 30 seconds to about 45 seconds. Maybe, if you're lucky, 58 seconds. And before they couldn't even break the 1 minute mark. Hell, I was already past that. I only had 18 seconds left. By the time I got adjusted my hand and then my foot touched the ground, it was like 18 seconds left. So I was like, damn it, so close. Everyone's like, you want to try it again? Nah, that's fine. But, the point of the story is, mind over matter, study, have fun, try, whatever, don't give up, and work through it. So, if you're out there stuck in the woods, work through it. You're working on a radio, work through it. You're trying to figure out how to fix your car, work through it. So, that's what you want to do. Anyways, great rag show this morning, guys. We had a lot of good emails, a lot of good funny ones as well for entertainment purposes, but we do got to get to work. We have an FT840 on the bench. We did a video part 1 to show what it's doing with the flash display. And we're going to go through and fix up things that were already done inside the radio by the owner. They were trying to save some time and money, which is cool. That's fine. They did a pretty good job, actually, nice and clean. They did change out 3 capacitors as well, but the solder is a little close to each other, so we're going to clean that up. And we got to check the regulators and see what's going on with it, if they've changed them out or not. So we got a little bit of work to do. These usually take some time to rip apart, etc. So you're going to see all that on the members only video. If anybody wants to check it out, if you haven't already joined, please go ahead and join, and you'll be able to watch right along as we fix this radio, troubleshoot through it, and see if we can get this thing up and running and make it great again. That's for sure. So let's see, he did a pretty good job, it looks like, for the most part. A couple things I don't like, but for the most part, I'd say like 90% of it is pretty good job. So great work. Just a couple things we're going to take care of and see if we can't fix this out. And I want to test your TXCO, your oscillator board, because I believe there could be something going on with that as well. I don't know. It's got a lot of glue around it, so we're going to have to see if we can maybe clean it up a little bit. I might have one here. If not, I've already got one on the way for a TXCO. So this is a what's that, 10.4, I believe it is. Let me see. Gotta get the glue here. Okay, 10.485. I think there's another frequency, another digit here. Let me double check. Yeah, 10.4857 megahertz. That is the oscillator crystal. Sure, there's nothing else below. I don't think so. Nope, that would be it. Okay, so 10.4857 is your oscillator frequency crystal here. And so we want to check in to make sure that's not a problem. Most cases I've seen where, if not often, but a lot of times, if you've already fixed all the problems in the radio and you still have a flashing display, it goes back to the TXCO. In this case here, we'll check the battery, make sure the battery is good for backup memory. That can cause it as well. And then we're going to double check his work and everything, and clean up the soldering of the capacitors, etc., and go from there. So he's got a lot of stuff going on inside this radio that we're going to kind of just double check. I see he's got a melted wire a little bit here from excessive heat when he tried to put the iron in. And so we're going to, let's say, go through and take care of it. Now, the board got hot at one point where the supply voltage comes into, and so they took the resistor out and had put the resistor pack in place of. So he watched my video on how to do this. He did a really good job for the most part, but we're going to go through and see what's on the bottom side. It looks like some of the soldering might be a little close. On some of this here, it looks like some of it is. So, but anyways, guys, we will take and be back here in a few moments. World Radio, how are you? Good to see you on. We will see everybody back here shortly with the Yaesu FT840. So like, share, subscribe, thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber yet, please do so. Don't miss out on the wonderful education you will get here that you won't find anywhere else. And if you don't have, if you are a subscriber and you haven't had a chance to join yet, please join. It's $9 a month, less than 30 cents a day. Cheap, 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 cheap. And that supports the channel along with keeping the trolls off and keep only focused onto repairs that people can see and not have to worry about all the jibber jabbers and all the people trying to get on here and have wonderful ignorant chats like Panic Attack tried doing here a couple weeks ago and got kicked off right away. So he had a fake account set up. That was him. He was bragging all over Facebook about it. So he kind of blew himself in. This is what I'm talking about, low IQ, man. These guys are so stupid. It's pathetic. And I like how people say, oh my God, he's bashing a shop. They are not shops. That's the problem. They are not shops. But they can believe what they want to believe. If they want to believe the sky's purple, hey, let them knock themselves out. Who cares? So, anyway, see you all soon here at the DX Radio Shop. Everyone have a great day on this happy Monday morning. Beautiful sunshine here. Hopefully that spreads all across the country and the world for everybody else as well. Richard to the UK. I hope you guys got some good weather out that way as well. Hope you have an enjoyable day. Always a pleasure to see you out here for sure. We will see you guys soon. Everybody have a great day. And we'll be back shortly with this video going live stream on this Yaesu FT840. Members only, so hit that join button, guys. Get your join put in. We got a lot of people who have already set up and joined, so they get the chance to see all the full detail of repairs. So feel free to do so. Hit that join button, and we'll see you soon. Anybody got any questions? Give me a holler. 315-945-1600. DX Radio Shop at yahoo.com. See y'all soon.